Now, what I want to talk, well, not what I want to talk about, but moving on from that then, you've got the kit in, you know when you try and sell it out, you're trying all the new softs from overseas and whatnot. The bats. Now,
Yes.
I thought I had a lot of knowledge of cricket bats. Having played since I was 7, having been a professional who was very picky with their bats, who thought I knew what a good bat was, I was like a fish out of water when I went in there and you tried explaining it to me. I did not have a clue, but my knowledge compared to a club player is I thought I was like the encyclopedia. Then when I come and speak to you, I literally feel like a little embryo in the womb. That's how small I feel, and I feel like you're this big 6-foot giant who's all strong. But cricket bats, right?
Yes.
And this is a very niche topic, but you have to have one when you play.
Correct.
What makes a good bat? Because there's loads of jargon out there. There's loads of fluff. You've been in the industry. You've worked with countless suppliers in the UK, overseas, everywhere. People know you. And when you bring a new product out or you have good bats, you get calls from all over the world.
Yeah,
because word of mouth spreads quickly.
It does. And the thing is with it, Matt, is there's a lot of myths out there with, I don't know, 20 grain bats make really good bats, or
do they?
Well, this is the thing is when I first started, I was adamant, and I would tell everyone that was what you needed to have, because that was portrayed to me as the myth of 20 grains, 10 grains. The key is the pressing of the bat itself.
So what is the pressing for those who don't know?
So obviously when you're making the bat itself, and obviously the process of going through actually making the bat, and obviously we were very lucky that we had very good bat makers who were showing us, and they do keep their secrets.
But like any good maker.
Exactly. So the pressing was the actual key of the actual bat, and actually working out what was the right pressing. So some companies like to press the bats extremely hard, so you get a long lasting bat, and as time goes on it softens up. It loosens up and it softens up. Whereas we went for a phase where we had fantastic bats all the time. They're really soft, they ping straight away. But sometimes with that, you can get breakages. Yeah, but that's the biggest issue you have, is that fine balance between, do you press the bat very, very soft and you get a great performance, which is fine if you're a pro, when I can just give it back to you and get a new one and get a free one. But fantastic. If I'm paying £400 or £500 and keeps breaking every 2 weeks, that's the fine art of cricket. But what is the pressing process? How does that work? Is it a roller, or is it a machine, or what is it? So you've got a roller, effectively. Yeah. Like a big rolling pin. A big rolling pin, almost, if you want to describe it as that. Yeah. And you're trying to, obviously, again, I don't want to go into too much detail, because obviously I'm not the bat maker, and I don't want to, no. Some people have, but in the most basic ways, because people listen to this might not know. Basic ways, it's obviously you're rolling, and obviously you're pressing the bat as obviously as hard as you can effectively to get the maximum performance out of the bat. So obviously you're pressing it lighter, so it's obviously a lot softer, so again you get performance out of that, whereas some bat makers want to press it extremely hard so it lasts. But Matt, unfortunately, as much as I'd love to have on my magic wand and go, right, it's all about, like I said, the willy you're almost given, or you're buying effectively. Has that changed dramatically in the 10 years? Massively, because again, when I first started 10, 11 years ago, all our bats had 10 minimum grains on everything, and you think, wow, these. So if I'm right in thinking, every grain on the bat is a year that the tree's been alive. Effectively, yeah. Is that right? Effectively, okay. But at the same time, I wouldn't say it's exactly that, but in terms of close enough. Okay. But the problem is now you're almost re-educating people now, and it's probably going to be a hard thing to re-educate everyone, because you've gone from telling everyone straight grain, tight grain is fantastic, to now two-tone wood as well. Two-tone wood again. It's another thing that throws into the mix. Butterfly bats for stronger bats. But again, for me personally, that's my own personal opinion of what I've seen over the years. Butterfly bats for me are, what are butterfly bats? For those of you who don't know, it's basically a bat that's been obviously stained effectively, and if you look at it, it's almost got like a butterfly stain.
So there's like a blemish on it.
Blemish on the bat, effectively, and
so it might be darker.
Might look almost like a splashing motion on it.
But you don't think that affects it way better? I don't. I bird agree. I don't. I've had bats that have that on it, and they play beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. I've had bats that have been fantastic, butterfly bats. But at the same time, I've had some beautiful halfwood, like heartwood, redwood on one side, and people say if you're right-handed, you need it in the inside.
So redwood's two-tone, is that what it is?
Two-tone, exactly what you say there. But in general, Matt, the problem is you can go through a phase where I've been very lucky because I've been very close to bat makers and very good friends with bat makers. So they've been very good to me in terms of what they've given me.
Sure.
But it's all about personal opinion as well. So I might give you a bat and you might pick it up and go, wow, this is one too heavy for me, one too light for me, and it doesn't feel right. When I might use it and go, wow, I've actually hit a couple of really good balls with this, and I think this is amazing.
So there's so many varying factors.
There's so many varying factors because the way you play and I play is totally different.
Okay. So
I'm very much a front foot bully, and I don't really want to jump on the back foot.
Yeah.
So if I'm playing on slow low wickets every week, fantastic. Whereas if I'm playing for some of the whacker, for example,
don't be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And the ball's bouncing a lot, and I'm hitting the ball in the area I don't want to be hitting it on the bat. Well, it's not going to sound good for me. It's not going to feel good for me. So there's loads of variants that go with a cricket bat, and that's why we always try and advise people to come in to pick bats up. I know the way it's changed, especially nowadays with online and. People can buy bats more direct and don't really pick them up. I'd always suggest coming into store or going into a trade shop where you can actually pick a bat up.
I completely agree.
There's too many people nowadays. It's almost like fast food.
Right.
You don't want.
Amazon is so easy to do. Just not with Amazon in general.
Amazon in general.
Or the other day I was buying something, and I didn't realise I had my card details saved. Clicked it, bought it, and it came straight to me.
Yeah.
Next day I forgot I even bought it.
But
not just Amazon, but that's how quickly it is. You see kids on YouTube and even Instagram. It just instant. It's pro direct. You go online.
Yeah, you go online. Exactly. Go online. Any shop now has to have an online presence, and it's almost. I don't want to say killed that market, but it's such a shame for me personally because you want people to come in and give them that experience and go through 10, 15 bats and have a feel of 10, 15 bats because it makes such a difference.
100%.
Because how could you possibly judge the weight?
Especially if you're paying all that money for a bat.
Of course, if I'm spending £150 on a lower end cricket bat, it's all the way up to a £700 cricket bat.
Use the code PRECISE15 for 15% off. Hashtag not an
ad. Brilliant. So it's a real. I've said I always suggest people coming in, 100%.
Don't forget that discount code though. You've got to plug it somewhere in here, haven't I?
Of course, always gonna be working, Matt. You know that.
Well, I do.
But yeah, no, I'd always suggest, like I said, I keep harping on about it, and it's a bit old school, but I would definitely suggest coming into store. Not just ours.
Other manufacturers are available.
I know other manufacturers are available, but I was just going into retailers.
But I think that's so good. I think what you said is the kit is realistically gloves are gloves, pads are pads. They change slightly. They do.
True.
Over the year. They are year to year. They predominantly change, but when you pick a bat up, as you said, it differs from how I play to you. Someone you play and someone else plays. So, parents, if you're listening, kids, if you're listening, adults, if you're listening, don't be lazy. Book a slot anywhere and go try it in, because you do not want to get something online.
Correct.
Hate it. Correct. Waste your money. Can't exchange it because you've used it. You're going to spend the money. Go in, because I promise you, it does help performance.
Massively.
It does help performance. So
massively.
If you want to perform better, make sure you go and get the proper equipment so you can play properly.
Correct. And one big thing for parents would be, don't buy a cricket bat one size too big.
No, do not.
Always buy the right size there and then. Don't buy a year in advance.
Because as a coach, it's a nightmare. Sometimes I'm coaching and I've got kids who are 5 foot using a short handle.
Correct.
Like, you probably should be a 5'6", mate. He's like, yeah, but my mum and dad said I can grow into it. Now,
Correct.
I do get cricket bats can be expensive.
Of course, 100%.
Use
I
Precise
agree,
15
yeah,
for 15% off. I'll stop that now. It's rubbish. But no, even if you can't afford a cricket bat, it's better sometimes to use a bat that's too small.
Correct.
Than too big.
Definitely. I'd
So
always
if a parent's saying, "Oh, you can grow into it," just say, "Actually, I'll get it in a 6 months' time or a year's time because it is going to make a big difference."
I'd always say, it's the same when I coached many moons ago, was, small and lighter than big and heavy. You want bat speed as a coach, as you know. You want bat speed. It doesn't matter how big your bat is. If you've got bat speed and a good piece of willow in your hand, it's still go the same distance.
Well, when I finished playing, I was using a Harrow. That
Correct,
was 2.4.
He was.
That was 2.4.
Correct.
And the amount of wood you could still get. Of course, I was very lucky. I got mine custom made. But the amount of wood was like at 2.4.
Exactly.
Custom made. Didn't matter what grains, as long as it picked up nicely.
Exactly. That's
it went.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying about coming to the store, you find hidden
I'm only
gems.
5'8.5". See, I got the half in there. But I'm 5'8" and I use the Harrow.
And there's lots of people
now when I pick a short handle up, even in coaching, it's too big for me. But I've been using a short handle since I was 15.
Yeah, but even sizes of pads and gloves, people get almost this.
What do you use? I'm 5'8". I use small men's.
Yeah, so I'm 5'10 and a half and half in, and I use small senior.
Yeah, so we use the same kit.
So I always use effectively. Well, you say it's smaller kit, but it's the right size kit. But because you get to an adult, you think I've got to use adult sizes.
Yeah.
But
you don't buy football boots that 2 sizes too big, do you?
Exactly. So I think people just get in this mindset of thinking, right, I've got to wear, if I'm an adult now, or I'm 16, 17, I'm sort of going into adult size, try the kit on.
Do you know the common theme I found is if I'm coaching a group of like 13 to 15 year olds, you get someone who's hit puberty earlier, they've shot up, and there's another kid that quite hasn't, who's still 4'5", and he's like, I'm going to use a short handle because my best mate does.
Of course.
That's the thing that infuriates me, and parents then do
I
it.
think that's parents. So not so much the child. It's the parents obviously following in the other child, other parents.
And you would have experience in dealing with customers because you're selling as well in the shop.
So many.
If it's a busy day, you're in there on the shop front.
Yeah, so much. Even before that, I was doing a lot more in the showroom, and I was doing a lot by myself originally when I first started. I was doing showroom manager when I first started. That was the biggest problem because I was coaching at the time as well, and you could see it. Kids were dragging bats out. You just couldn't pick them up. And I was like, well, you can't really use this. Like, it's fine because we need it for 2 years' time. 2 years' time. It's like, well, you might not get a run in 2 years.
So you're not going to get a run for the next 2 years anyway.
So it's a big thing. Like I said, I keep harping on about it. I keep saying it, but it doesn't matter where you go to and where you're based. You need to go in. Even if you try it in a store and then go and buy it online from that same company, whatever it is, you just need to try it. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I agree. And lastly, wrapping it up, obviously, you knew we have been renowned for